Around 3.8 million years ago, Earth was a vastly different world filled with wild landscapes, untamed creatures, and unpredictable weather. The African continent, especially regions that would one day become Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania, was the cradle of early human evolution. It was here that some of the earliest ancestors of modern humans began to walk upright, setting in motion the long journey of transformation that would eventually lead to us. Life during this time was harsh, demanding, and filled with daily struggles for food, water, and safety. Yet within this struggle lay the seeds of intelligence, cooperation, and survival instinct that defined the rise of humanity. These early beings, known to scientists as Australopithecus afarensis, were small in size but remarkable in their adaptability. Standing roughly 4 feet tall, they walked upright on 2 legs, a revolutionary development in evolution. This new way of moving freed their hands, allowing them to carry food, use tools, and protect their young while traveling. Walking upright also gave them the ability to see above tall grass and watch for both prey and predators, which increased their chances of survival. The shift to bipedalism was not just a physical change, it was a key moment that opened up endless possibilities for how these early humans interacted with the world around them. The environment during this era was undergoing major transformation. Large areas of dense forest were giving way to open grasslands due to changes in global climate patterns. These savannas were filled with herds of grazing animals and deadly predators that lurked in the shadows. Early humans had to adapt quickly to this changing world, learning new ways to find food and defend themselves. In forests, fruit and leaves were easy to find, but on the plains, food sources were less predictable. This forced early hominids to broaden their diet and explore new possibilities for nourishment, marking one of the most significant dietary shifts in evolutionary history. Initially, their diet consisted mostly of plants, roots, seeds, and fruits. But as competition for resources increased, they began to experiment with new foods, including insects and small animals. Eventually, they started scavenging meat left behind by predators, using sharp-edged stones to cut flesh from carcasses and break open bones to access nutrient-rich marrow. This new source of protein and fat provided essential energy for brain development, fueling the slow but steady growth of intelligence that would define human evolution. The consumption of meat and marrow gave early humans an advantage over other species, allowing their brains to develop more efficiently and their problem-solving skills to improve. These dietary changes also encouraged tool use. Though the earliest tools were simple, sharp stones or bones, they represented the beginning of human innovation. Over generations, early hominids learned to select specific stones and shape them to fit particular purposes, such as cutting, scraping, or pounding. The ability to create and use tools marked a mental leap forward, showing that these creatures were capable of planning and creativity. These tools not only made it easier to process food but also offered protection from predators and helped them access new environments. The daily life of early humans was full of challenges. They had to remain constantly aware of the dangers around them, from saber-toothed cats and massive hyenas to crocodiles lurking in rivers. They lived in small family groups, cooperating to gather food, care for offspring, and keep watch for threats. Communication was likely through gestures, sounds, and expressions rather than complex speech, but even this primitive form of cooperation helped them survive. Their understanding of the natural world grew through observation, learning where animals migrated, which plants were safe to eat, and how to find water in the dry season. Even though fire had not yet been discovered, these early humans showed incredible resilience. They relied on the daylight for safety and rested in trees or caves during the night. Survival depended on teamwork, knowledge of the land, and the ability to adapt to sudden changes. Every day was a battle, but each small victory, finding food, avoiding predators, protecting the young, pushed their species a step further toward evolution. By the end of this period, early hominids were no longer just scavengers, they were becoming intelligent foragers and skilled trackers. Their growing awareness, curiosity, and cooperation laid the foundation for the next stages of human evolution. The simple acts of walking upright, making tools, and eating meat were not just habits, they were revolutionary changes that shaped the destiny of humankind. The story of life 3.8 million years ago is a reminder that human progress was born from struggle, curiosity, and the instinct to survive. From these humble beginnings, a new chapter of life had begun, one that would eventually give rise to modern humanity.